Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Mac Demarco record, Salad Days. This is the latest full-length LP from singer-songwriter Mac Demarco, following up his modestly successful full-length LP, 2, which turned him into a pretty massive personality in the jangle pop world. And I say personality because between numerous music videos and interviews that he's done since the release of this really lax, easygoing record, he has come off really eccentric, playful, hilarious. Mac Demarco's persona, to me, is so enjoyable that I can only hope that his music continues to stay relevant just so that one day I can sort of see his goofy smile on a billboard somewhere. Now, I didn't love his last record, but I did think it had some fantastic tracks on it. Tracks that made for great singles, great music videos, like My Kind of Woman, or Ode to Viceroy, or Dreaming. Really gentle combination of bass and drums, twinkling guitars, with some really expressive strumming. The whole vibe was really chill. However, the melodies on these tracks, and sometimes the lyrics and the song concepts, but mostly the melodies, were really sharp. I was hoping Mac would come through, develop a bit more on his next record, drop some stronger singles, bring a little more variety to the table. But personally, I do not feel like that happened. I think Mac came through with an even more homogeneous record than he did with 2. Not only that, but I think this record has less single power as well. I mean, sonically, melodically, I don't think there's a single song on this record that rivals one of the better tracks on 2. And I think with Mac putting out more music, touring more, signing with Captured Tracks, he's almost lost the spontaneity that was there on some of his stuff like Rock and Roll Nightclub. Mac's really smooth, gentle, easygoing sound seems to be the only likable quality about his music that has stuck around for this record. That and some of the different song topics that he tends to address over the course of a record. Some of which may not be apparent from first listen just because of how emotionally disconnected and just sigh of relief this whole album feels in terms of its vocal delivery. There are some true heartbreak songs on this LP. However, emotionally, it doesn't really feel that way necessarily because the emotional pain doesn't really ring through all of the sonic lethargy that I think the instrumentation brings. And that's unfortunate, you know. I understand that 2 was a really big breakout record for Mac, but I think Salad Days kind of shows where his ambitions lie at the end of the day. Salad Days just feels like a hit of the reset button. It's a record that acts like its predecessor never even existed. Even the songs that I like off of this thing, I feel like I'm merely enjoying them just because they sound just like moments off of Mac's previous album. Like with the song Passing Out Pieces, which initially grabs my ear because of its shimmering synthesizer arpeggios. I do love the increase in the use of synths on this record. Overall, they do add a really nice touch, but as soon as the twinkling guitar solos pour through on the chorus, I get this extreme shot of deja vu. And then a pretty surprise fade out right after the second chorus on this track. And this isn't the only track this happens on, unfortunately. And in this song in particular, it's like it's really truly over and done with 30 seconds before it decides to completely and fully fade out. It's moments like this that make me feel like Mac Demarco isn't putting as much effort into this record as he did his last record, and I'm kind of sitting here wondering why. I feel the same way on the incredibly underwhelming acoustic ballad Let My Baby Stay, or the song Go Easy, where essentially the hook is done to death. The intro to the song Treat Her Better, extreme deja vu there, overall with the groove on the song Blue Boy 2. Either Mac is just unashamedly repeating past successes in his musical career that all have occurred very recently, or he's indulging in some really unenjoyable ideas like the end of the track Blue Boy, which is one of the more sedate tracks on the entire LP, and then all of a sudden at the very finish, this shoegazy wall of guitars is hit with this horrible off-pitch falsetto that is not pleasant to the ear in any way whatsoever. Honestly, I'm pretty on the fence with this LP. I do like the vibe, I do like the sound that Mac continues to bring to the table, but I feel like this record overall is the sound of not succeeding, not failing horribly, but settling, just settling. Instead of shooting for something more ambitious, Mac has settled. He's settled for dishing out the kind of tracks that play between your favorite songs on AM soft rock radio in the 70s. He's settled for a redo. He's settled for sounding like a Sleepy Time Ariel Pink. And in the process, didn't even finish some of the tracks here that he started, did not give strong endings to some of these tracks like I know he has on his previous efforts. There's just a lot of loose ends on this LP. Even on the last track of this LP, which is just a kind of forgettable instrumental where finally as the song just decides to stop, Mac pops in and says, "Hey everybody, thanks for listening, bye-bye." Which is pretty cute and does show Mac DeMarco's personality. This is something I wish more artists did. However, I would much rather have succinct, well-written, memorable songs than sort of this really nice goodbye message. So in its best moments, this record is very pretty on the ear, it's seductive, but in its worst, it's redundant, it's stale, it's unimaginative, and it's kind of short of breath too. I'm feeling a light to decent 5 on this thing. Transition, if you've given this record a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Mac DeMarco, Salad Days, forever.